All right, welcome, friends around the world, to another episode of Primetime Muscle, covering every aspect of bodybuilding, all the way from open, bikini, wellness, classic, everything in between. Tarek Gilgindi, Tim Wilkins. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. I'm happy to be here. I heard that finally, for the love of God, we got a replacement for Chris Cormier. I have not been this happy in years.
You would be very wrong, because he's got a walk-on like he's a boxer. Ladies and gentlemen, former Hall of Fame bodybuilder, the Sultan of Swag, the Duke of Dress, the Louis Vuitton Don, real deal Chris Cormier. Yes.
Ooh. How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Chris.
Did y'all miss me?
The face.
He said naked, right?
He said naked.
Naked. I was scared for a second.
So
naked. He said naked.
He said naked. So here's a question I got for you, Chris.
We don't want to get canceled here.
I told you. I've told you.
I'm taking the glasses off.
I get texts.
I will wait.
And calls. What are those glasses too? Those are Versace also?
Chris, how much money do you spend?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
I'm
down
text.
with the Olympia team, baby.
I get texts.
That's all that matters.
Do you get people that
We're
ask
not
that
getting that kind of money.
Do you get people that ask you that question?
People ask me, Tarek, what Nordstrom Rack are you going to? And how come Chris can dress a lot better than you?
My people ask, is it Burlington or Men's Warehouse? And right now, Macy's. Chris goes where they have guards at the door to shop.
With bulletproof vests.
And bulletproof vests. So here's my question for you, because I get this all the time. And people ask, what does Chris spend on his clothes? I'm not going to ask that question. We've never seen Chris. You can back me on this.
Is the shirt a different fabric? That's Versace, huh?
That's Versace, baby.
So, but that's $900,
no,
man.
it's more than that.
Let me
This is a size 3X. You know it's more than that.
3X Versace. That's like a car cover for a Land Rover.
Let's go.
Let me ask you this real quick. So, Chris, because I'm dying to know.
What?
Have we ever seen you in the same thing twice?
I try not to.
You're going to have a yard sale or something. All right, let's get down to business here, fellas. We have a great show for you. We have a lot to cover. There are so many shows now. People are qualifying. We've had New York Pro, Texas Pro. We've had the Atlanta Pro, Tampa Pro, Chicago. So all the big dogs, Vancouver, Toronto, all the big shows. We've got a couple more opportunities to qualify. But that Olympia is coming up fast, November 2nd to the 5th. And we got to talk about who are the champions and what do they need to do to maintain that championship. And we have to start it open, and we have to start with one of the most conditioned bodybuilders in the last, probably of this generation for sure. I mean, a guy that just comes in shredded.
Tim, the history of the Mr. Olympia is quite simple. The guy that won the title has a much better chance, statistically speaking, than winning again. We have had, since 1965, plenty of shows, but we haven't had that many new champions. The tradition is you win and your odds of winning again are higher. If you were playing the stock market or Las Vegas, you would bet on the winner. Lee Haney 8 times, Ronnie Coleman 8 times, Arnold 7 times, Phil Heath 7 times, Dorian 6 times. Hadi Chupin needs to understand that, and I call him the Big Azizam. He already won the Mr. Olympia. He won because he is a combination of muscularity. As soon as he came on stage, we could tell he looked bigger. Okay, so he knew full well he was going to have to battle Big Ramy, who was the current champion. He closed the gap on that. Where did he beat some of the guys? Conditioning, and let me tell you one thing. Hadi Chupin is the guy that hits the poses better than anybody. Nobody hits the poses better than Hadi. He's got muscularity. He's got conditioning. He's got the good lines. He's got everything. He is a Mr. Olympia.
Now, back this up, Chris. We talk about the guys that post their pictures on Instagram and the updates. He's looking almost stage ready months out. I saw a picture at 14 weeks out where he was almost ready. Striations in his chest and bigger.
Hadi never stops. Like, he went straight back to work once he finished the parade. You know, when he come home, once he finished the parade, I think Hadi's back in it. I mean, I've been in the Middle East, and I know that when you bodybuild, that's what you do. And that's what he does on a continuous basis, is bodybuild and train and prepare for the Olympia again.
The key question, Chris, is could he have been a little bit more conditioned?
Yes, especially from the back. To me, I thought Derek was the better bodybuilder from the back this past year. And I thought Hadi just had the maturity, and you know, he's been up there battling the big guys for a few years now.
Yeah.
He's been in the top three. He's had people thinking he should have won years ago when he was placing third.
The Brandon Curry years.
Yeah, all those years. So I think, you know, and the serratus and obliques and that stuff is just so mature and so developed. I think he kind of like sprinted past the other guys with that.
Jay Cutler said something that was interesting. He said, when I won the Mr. Olympia, when Ronnie won the Mr. Olympia, we had to travel all over. And he goes, Hadi, he's in Iran and he's been working out the whole time. And this guy works out like a beast. So the odds are that we are going to see a much improved version of Hadi Choopan at the 2023 Mr. Olympia. Now, if this guy won with his conditioning not at 100%, more size, can we imagine if he's bigger and more conditioned?
Well, therein lies the question, because let's compare everybody else's updates and their guest posing. Did you judge the Open last year?
Yes.
Okay. Did Derek take him in the back pose?
Derek won the back double biceps.
Okay.
But he didn't win the back lat spread. I'm going to tell you this, and some people might find it controversial.
Or wrong.
No, not wrong, okay?
Go ahead.
Humanity thanks me that you're not a judge. In the back double biceps, Derek Lunsford is as good as it gets. In the back lat spread, it was closer, but I thought Hadi Choopan had a little bit more thickness.
No, that begs the question. With Derek's updates, his back is probably the thing that's improved the most.
We don't know what's going to happen, but I know what happened. And what happened was a convincing victory by Hadi Choopan. I voted for him first at prejudging. I voted for him at finals. Some judges disagreed with me. They thought that Derek was better than Hadi at prejudging, and then they went with Hadi at finals. It's close, but in my personal opinion, Hadi Choopan convincingly won the 2022 Mr. Olympia.
Now, let's move down the pictures a little bit here, fellas, and keep looking, because it's always been my opinion, if there's anywhere that Hadi really shines, it's not the front double bi, it's that most muscular. It's the separation, deep separation in the abs, but the striations in the chest. Now, compared to a Samson who has exploded this year, Samson Dauda has completely transformed again. Derek has put on a ton of size. Is that amount of chest going to keep him at the top? But does it go back to conditioning again? Where are you at?
At the Olympia battle, remember when Samson walked in with the black tank top?
Yep, and 325 pounds.
And he sat down to eat. There was a silent moment right there. And I started looking at Samson Dauda and going, this dude is humongous.
But you know what that moment is? You know what that silent moment is? That's almost like the mass that came into the room. You start to feel it in the room. You start to feel them two checking each other out in the corner of their eye, and they just like sizing each other up. So they're not saying anything. They're just like, everyone's just kind of quiet. It was just like, it was really eerie feeling in the gym that day.
It was it was incredible. I agree with Chris. Samson Dauda came in with a black tank top. He sat on the table and he started eating, and I even think Derek noticed that there was a silence there.
Derek was standing there just looking like, It was like, okay.
It's like, Tim, we're looking at Samson Dauda going, this is different. Now, credit to Derek. At the end of the workout, he took off the shirt. And I think he took off the shirt because he felt at that point Samson had an edge on him.
And he tilted the whole room.
I can't leave this battle here with the impression that Samson Dauda won this thing.
Yeah.
And he took off the shirt and started posing. I saw videos and pictures of Olympia battle. And I saw a picture of Derek Lunsford, back lat spread. And I think at this point, going into the 2023 Mr. Olympia, Derek Lunsford's back lat spread might be incredibly improved.
It
now,
is.
I don't know what it is with Samson Dauda, but he is tall. He's got the round muscle belly. When he walks in, it looks like you're looking at something. There's something of a. I'm going to say something that it might be controversial here, and Chris, you help me with that.
It can be the first, but go ahead.
Okay. I'm going to say that there is something about Samson Dauda that kind of reminds me of Ronnie Coleman.
Ronnie Coleman?
The way he's coming up, right? He's coming up so strong.
I think more like Lee Haney's front, that round chest with the whole...
He's just different. I mean, the amount of... You look at his pictures on Instagram and then you look at him working out, you kind of go like, he's really impressive.
From the front, he's Mr. Olympia material for sure.
So one of my favorite parts of the entire Olympia week is always the press conference. And when Michael Krizo took off his shirt last year.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It sucked the air out of the room.
That was crazy.
Samson Dauda needs to do that. He needs to come out and just say to everybody, go ahead and realize you're taking second and third and fourth.
But you know, Samson, everyone's talking about his back, his back, his back. I know he's working on it like crazy, especially with so many people talking about it. You know, that's his beginning of the workout of the week and the end of the week. You know, he's on that back. So if I were him, the first thing I would show is just my back and the improvement. Just boom. Well, be like, now what?
But one of the things that I want to talk to you guys is at check-ins. Some of the guys that didn't look as impressive as Michael Krizo were Hadi Chupin and Derek Lunsford. That's bodybuilding for you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Michael Krizo there. His arms are bigger than his head. And I looked at, in the back, Hadi Chupin and Derek. They didn't look like they were the biggest guys. They didn't look intimidating.
They were 212 competitors from before.
And they went on stage and they dominated the Olympia.
And I want to round things off with Hadi in just a second, though. Jay Cutler, I believe, Jake just said he believes Derek will be the first former 212 competitor and former 212 champ to win the Mr. Olympia. The second? Who was the other one to win the...
but he was a 212 before.
But he didn't win the 212 Olympia.
That's right.
So the first 212 Olympia to win the Open.
He could have.
So, guys, looking at the...
But this is not the best photo of him, but he does have a very crazy serratus. And
Chris, you're not judging the Olympia. So look at that camera.
But I will be.
Look at that camera.
One day I will.
Let's lose some followers. Look at that camera right there and let us know who's winning the 2023 Mr. Olympia.
Lunsford. I just think he's a younger puncher. He's the Mike Tyson coming up. There was the one before Mike Tyson that he just came and knocked him out. I think he's going to be way more improved than last year. No knock on my man Hadi. I love Hadi to death. I love you, Hadi. I'm just saying, you already got your flowers. I just think the young guy is going to come up and he's going to be vastly improved from last year. And I think he's just going to go for it.
I just want to mention one of the most popular Iranian channels is called A-Flex. Let's translate that. Let's make sure Chris Cormier is in trouble.
Oh, come on,
okay? A-Flex, great Iranian channel.
And what about you?
5 million followers.
Who do you think's going to win?
Translate that and let's get Chris Cormier in big trouble with the Persian community.
Who do you think's going to win?
I'm judging the show I know nothing.
Stop it.
I'm judging the show I know nothing.
Stop it.
I'm going to take this out like Tyson then for you. It was crazy. So last year, Hadi Chupin was unbelievable. He's amazing. Derek Lunsford's made huge improvements. It's crazy.
So who do you think?
Samson Dauda punches like how a mule kicks. I remember when he fought George Foreman like that. I think the top 3 is going to be shuffled, but I think your top 3, your top 4 is going to be Hadi, Lunsford, Samson, and Labrada.
What about
what?
What about Nick?
Oh,
Big Nick. Nick ain't playing.
There's your top 5, but I think that
Big Nick ain't playing.
Top 2 is battling back and forth.
He says he's going to improve.
Every time people doubt Nick Walker, he comes in on
I can't believe I forgot Nick Walker. All right.
Don't mess with Nick. Big Nick.
We'll be back with more Prime Time Muscle when we come back. Sorry, Nick. You're in it. Top 5 all day.
Saint Nick.
We're back on Primetime Muscle as these two try to pick each other's physiques apart.
He said my shoulders look what?
He said he thinks you're shooting stuff in him. I don't know what he said.
That's material.
Is that padding?
Yeah, it's material.
I don't think Versace Versace doesn't have a hanger for a 3X. All right, guys, we just talked about the Open. We got to move on to the 212, dominated for the last couple of years by Sean Clarida. Is there any improvement? I mean, Sean's got, 15, 20 pounds he can even play with, but does it benefit him to put on any more size, and can he come in any more condition? Is there a shot he'll lose this?
Go ahead.
Final confirmation. Breon Ansley is not going to the 212.
No.
Okay. It was a dominant performance. This guy is as complete as he gets. I thought he looked his best at the Olympia, and then he went to the Arnold, and he looked even better. When I looked at him, and I can tell you this, out of all the classes I judged at the Olympia, and I judged all of them last year, he was the most dominant. It was wow from beginning to the end. Now, there are some guys coming up. Calderon from Spain, he's dense. Kamal Elgarni, he's experienced. But I like people to start paying attention to one key name, and that is Keon Pearson.
Oh, Keon, you talk about
such a shock.
Update pictures. The prodigy, Keon Pearson.
I think
he's been there for years. He just hasn't put it together. He's even improved the physique. He improved his training in the gym. He's putting it out there a lot that, hey, I'm coming. I may have faltered before. I may have got jabbed, in the solar plex before. But now I'm coming with the big swing with the Mike Tyson voice.
Here comes the big right hand. It's the overhead. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, the Olympia, if the Olympia goes back to Vegas, that guy is going to cross us, and he's going to beat the crap out of us. I'm just letting you know, Chris and I will run like we've never run before, and you'll be the one dealing with Mike.
I would love to say Tyson's getting old and slow, but he's not. I've seen him.
Oh,
I've seen him spar. So Keon, Clarida has been so dominant, and just to back up real quick, my favorite part of him at the Arnold, because he was so dominant, was watching Brian Shaw, the world's strongest man, give him his trophy and pat him on the head like Sean was going to climb a beanstalk and steal his golden goose. Brian is so massive.
Here's the deal, Tim Wilkins. Clarida is as dominant as it gets, but Keon Pearson has the genetics. Keon Pearson has more mass. And if Keon Pearson... Here's the deal. Here's Clarida. Here's Clarida. On the front lat spread.
You're Clarida?
No, you're Clarida. I'm Keon Pearson. On that front lat spread, when Keon Pearson opens that front lat spread,
so much bigger than you, though.
We are going to notice the width of Keon Pearson. Okay. On the side poses, Sean Clarida will be dense and impressive. That just made me uncomfortable. I'm married with you.
Sorry.
How is wrong with you, man?
Sorry.
Come on now, bro.
Sorry.
I mean, come on. With that shirt into no, come close. Come close to me.
Get out of here.
Nice titties. Okay, go back to business. Nico's getting pissed.
Can't say that.
On the side chest, Sean Clarita has tremendous density.
Pick it up.
Okay, side triceps. On the back double biceps, Clarita has great back double biceps, can get a little bit more detail. Hamstrings are perfect. But I'm talking about the width of Keon Pearson can be a challenge to Sean Clarita. What do you think, Chris Cormier?
100% agree with you. Terry, I don't like to agree with you too much, but I agree with you on this one. The width can be a problem, and I think he's about maybe 2 inches taller and that much wider.
Keon is.
Yeah, and then it's always been a conditioning thing with him. I hate to say it, but I really think the conditioning will be on point this year. We've thought this about you before, Keon, but I'm going to roll with you on this one. I know for a fact you're in shape. You got some bells and whistles that you didn't have before with that back. The hamstrings are diced up. I saw that, and I think it's going to be an issue. Don't worry about the glute stuff. I don't know if the glutes. I don't know. I mean, because the champ Clarita has some striated glutes. Don't even worry about the glutes. Worry about the cuts, the shape, and the what you brought to the table before.
I have a question for both of you, Tim Wilkins and Chris Cormier. Okay, couple years ago, no, 3 or 4 years ago, there was a bodybuilder in the 212, right? That he couldn't get his conditioning right. You know, he placed second 1 year, then he placed third the next year, then he fell to the fourth. You know, who was that bodybuilder?
Who? Out of New York or New Jersey?
No. And eventually he nailed Derek Lunsford.
When did he nail
Derek Lunsford, when he won the 212.
He did not nail it.
The one the 212.
You don't think he was dominant that year?
I don't think he nailed his conditioning.
When he won the 212 title, he nailed his conditioning.
He was flat at the prejudge.
But anyways, he struggled with conditioning.
True.
He came in real hot as the 212 second place to Flex Lewis, and then he kind of fell off.
That's why you're a judge and I'm a competitor.
He lost to Kamel Garni, and then he took a fourth, and then people said, well, maybe he's not as good as we thought he was. And then he came the next year, nailed in the 212, and then he went to the Open, and he got second place. I'm letting you guys know right now, Keon Pearson, okay? Keon Pearson has the capability of being the second coming of Derek Lunsford. I foresee this man, Tim Wilkins, eventually going to the Open.
I would think that's a silly move for him. He could dominate here, like Clarita has. I think they're both going to be. It's going to be a horse race between those two guys this year. I see John Jewett moving into the top 5 with great conditioning. Kamal's going to stay in that top 5, which is tough. But Clarita it's such a compact package. It's so hard to compete.
But let me be clear on Derek. Derek, for my liking, I loved him at the USA when he won it. I just haven't seen what I wanted to see out of his physique on the stage when it's 12 o'clock and you got to nail it right now. I haven't seen that.
But you just picked him to win the Olympia.
Because he's going to be vastly improved. I'm talking about he hasn't hit his peak yet.
So you think he never nailed his condition?
Never nailed it. He did at the USA, and I don't think he nailed it.
I'm going to tell you this, because I know the history better than you do.
Oh, really?
Yes. At the USAs. At the USAs, he nailed his condition as a middleweight.
Yes.
Were you referencing to that? Or were you referencing when he won his pro card?
I don't need to reference to his weight, how much he weighed. I'm talking about the way he looked.
As a middleweight.
Because I've been bodybuilding since 1983.
As a middleweight, he nailed his conditioning. As a middleweight, he nailed his conditioning. When he won his pro card as a light heavy, he was dominant. He went on to win in Tampa. But still, his conditioning was not perfect. He will be the first one to say one of my best shapes were the 212 win, and as a middleweight, a little history for you right there.
So guys, you say this all the time, and it's so true, across all divisions. You have to take out the champ Is there anything he can do to just completely solidify that so it's just a brick wall coming up?
If Sean Clarita shows up the same way he showed at the Arnold Classic or the same way he showed at the Olympia, man, I mean, God bless everybody's soul. I mean, he looked incredible.
Deficiencies in the physique, are we anywhere that we can say ham to quad ratio, ham sweep, shoulders don't need to be capped, obviously?
Well, when you put these two together, Sean and the front double, I think that he can probably, he got that crazy small waist with the vacuum, with the lats, and then the bicep peaks. I think that's where he can have trouble.
So this show is about losing followers.
No.
Look at the center camera.
No, you're going to do it.
Look at the center camera.
He's going to do it.
If you're scared, that's fine. We'll call somebody who's not scared.
Well, he's the champ. Still going with the champ
You're
right
going
now.
with the champ. Chris
yes.
Cormier, not afraid to lose followers. About time you got some courage in you. High five.
I'm going to stay Switzerland, where a lot of the good transactions happen in the world. I think it's going to be a horse race. I think Sean may retain it, but I think Keon's going to give him a battle.
He'll be second.
It's going to be Big Steve. Whoever's sitting in that head judge chair is going to work him.
But I just think Keon will get the first shot right there, and but I just think overall right now, you know, the striated quads and all that stuff that, you know, Keon he could do it. But Sean Clarita has been shown he's been doing it and doing it and doing it.
Well.
And that's why I'm going with that.
There you go.
Well, Chris has already picked his Olympia picks. He's got Derek and Sean Clarita.
All right, that covers the 212. We're going to talk about men's physique when we come back. Talk about that champ and what it would take to retain that title with all the guys coming up behind.
Boom!
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
All right. We're back on Primetime Muscle, and we're talking about men's physique and the champ, Aaron Banks.
Aaron Banks, man. The physique champion.
So, guys, when somebody wins, essentially judging-wise, that is the standard bearer for what everything else should be judged for the year. You're making a face.
Not necessarily.
Okay. Correct.
Hadi Chupin won the Olympia. His conditioning was not perfect. Was really good, but was not perfect.
Right.
So, it's the person who got closer to the criteria.
Okay. So Aaron Banks, who was our champion last year after a real battle between some great guys. We had Brandon Hendrickson. We had, come on, help me out with those other two guys.
Brandon Hendrickson, Aaron Banks.
Aaron Banks.
You got Diogo Montenegro from Brazil.
Corey
he
Morris.
took third. Corey Morris, Edivan Palmeira. You got Charjo Grant, who took fourth. Edivan Palmeira, fifth.
So Sergeant Charjo Grant in his last win qualifying.
Here's Aaron Banks, Brandon Hendrickson, Diogo Montenegro, Charjo Grant, Edivan Palmeira.
Okay.
5, Edivan Palmeira.
So, looking at Aaron Banks' physique last year. Now, guys have improved considerably. You also, we could be looking at the comeback of Buendia. Who is massive.
That's Chris's boy right there. That's Chris's.
We spent a lot of time training over the COVID times, for sure.
And
even before.
He was angry at Olympia battle, man. He was angry.
He was ready.
He was angry.
Mouthpiece in.
He was angry.
He's massive right now.
He was drooling. He was drooling at Olympia battle.
Yeah.
So
he
Jeremy,
wanted to get back.
Compared to his Olympia championship years, looks really big. And that's what they're going to potentially going away from. And they're getting back to, after this year, that fit, trim physique look they were trying to get at?
Correct,
Trying to stay at. They should have tried to stay at.
So, a lot of people talk and they're critical about some of the physiques changing, the physiques that win. and I want to bring this down to planet Earth, okay? Is anybody complaining that Lee Haney looked completely different than Larry Scott? No, nobody's complaining. Is anybody complaining that now in the NBA the guys are dunking with their heads on the rim? Nobody's complaining. Is anybody complaining that now the quarterbacks in the NFL are throwing for 400, 500 yards? No, nobody's complaining. Competitors get better. The sport gets better. And in the men's physique division, the competitors became more and more and more athletic. And in my personal opinion, this is one of the best physiques.
Okay.
When you talk about Aaron Banks, is the back.
So here's where I differ. As a physique competitor, there was a look they were trying to say.
Chris, he's pissed now. You can tell he's pissed.
You finally get me. You finally got my happy space. So when you say a guy has evolved from Larry Scott to Sergio Oliva up to Lee Haney up to the years of Phil Heath and Ronnie Coleman, there's an evolution of open. You say the biggest, most developed, most cut, most. That's that guy. In a physique competitor, you're looking for a guy who puts on a pair of board shorts and who would be the ultimate physique on the beach. And what we have now is a lot of bodybuilders in board shorts. We have guys that couldn't make weight in classic if they weighed them. So they've got to put those things in there. Now, getting to Aaron Banks, I think he's one of those guys that when they institute those criteria, is going to stay at the top, if not that top position, because he's already that guy. I didn't like the physique at first, and the more I look at him, the more it grows on me every time that he's a guy.
What didn't you like before?
I thought, looking at the other guys, I thought it was oddly shaped. Then I look at a picture like the one on the end, and that is how physique should look. A Ryan Terry, that guy. There's 4 or 5 guys that just personify that board short shredded look, and they're not shoulder to shoulder, 42 inches across with a 52-inch chest. That's a classic physique.
Tim, you have a good point, and I'm going to tell you that some competitors have been marked down for excessive muscularity. One of them,
Diogo
Kyron Holden, right? Holden, and Brandon Hendrickson. Aaron Banks is a little bit more streamlined. What I think is this. Aaron Banks, look at this back, the low lats, and if his low lats indicate to me that he's got a little bit of Kai Green in him, genetics. Do you see that now?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Low lats, and from the front, the only thing he was missing was, because he's got these large clavicle bones, was the upper chest, and he continues to fill up. Now, dear Aaron Banks and his coach, Ariel, cuts contain the shoulder development. You can see on that picture right there.
Contain as in
limited.
Bring it down.
Yes.
Bring it down. Stop. You see that right shoulder right there? It looks overdeveloped, and it looks possibly like an imbalance. The shoulders are getting too much attention. They might not be matching the physique. So my only feedback to the current Olympia champion, he's a superstar, great guy, is hold off on those shoulders.
Okay.
Now, Chris, this being one of my favorite pictures.
Yeah, that's a great shot. That's like you say, that's the staple of the sport right there, is that look right there. That's what I liked about the whole category when it came up. And I just thought they got a little out of hand with allowing things to go on. Used people, the judges,
did they that. Rewarded that.
They should have harnessed that a long time ago.
So that said, you do have guys, you people, judges. Not
emotional damage.
So then you do have guys like Charjo Grant, who just qualified a few weeks ago, looks incredible and personifies the look they're trying to forward. So he's going to bump up. Kyron, can he tone back down?
Kyron Holden.
He's going classic.
He's going classic.
Oh. So he's trying to bounce out his lower half to his upper half.
And
that's where he's at right now. He's trying to design his physique.
That would be interesting to see where he goes. I mean, is he going to look streamline on that classic? Can he really put on all that weight? Should he have contained his muscle, streamlined and gone to men's physique still? We don't know. We're going to see it.
That's what bodybuilding is great. You can manipulate your physique how you want it. You could design it and build it and bring it down. That's what I love about the sport.
You know, I've always loved that as the pay-per-view announcer and an MC. The ladies are more notorious for this. You see somebody that started out in bikini, went figure, then they go women's physique,
or wellness.
Or wellness, but they grow so efficiently and put on muscle and have to then, like you both have always said, let the category pick you, don't pick your category, and they've moved to the category that fits how they've evolved. And I think for so many of these guys, they need to step up like Chiron. Breon, we'll see how he is staying there, or if the next year he goes, forget it, man, I'm going to put on that extra 10 pounds and bump up to the big boys, to the 212s.
It's a telltale year right now.
So what do you think? I know you can't make any judgments. Other than not overdeveloping his delts, what else can he do? A little tighter next year, this year? What's he have to do?
I thought his conditioning was good. I thought his posing was good. Now,
no, sorry to interrupt, but if the shoulder is a little bit down, that may show more better balance with his chest, with his shoulders, with his physique.
That's a really good point. Chris does not have often good points, but that's finally a good point. If his shoulders are down, then he won't have to fill up the chest. That's an excellent point, Chris. Let's make that into Maffer. Let's get Maffer into one of those reels, because that's finally a good point by Chris.
So, Chris, you love pointing out, and these are a couple of my favorite muscles because they look like the muscles in a super suit.
Yeah.
His obliques and serratus are just beautiful.
Yeah, and I like his setup. I know a lot of people try to copy it, and stop trying to copy his stuff, guys. Like, come up with your own way of presenting your body, because it works with his physique the most. That little setup with the, or is it this side?
They're both good, Chris.
And then, and then all this is showing, because he's showing.
I'm so sorry. Can you do that one more time?
Okay. So while Chris is on it,
hey, put a wig on him. And he looks like Tina Turner.
Okay.
So
that was racist.
So Tina Turner.
I love Tina Turner.
I don't look like Tina Turner.
Simply the best. Simply the best. Didn't you do this? Simply the best.
So there's a couple of things.
Can we put B-roll of Tina Turner?
So the couple of things the physique guys are doing that I've heard annoy the heck out of the judges and the audience and the MC. One of which is you get into your side, your front pose, and you just roll that arm.
Who started that for the most part?
Some coach that I'm understanding probably said, adjust your pose and roll your arm to get the judge's attention. You are getting their attention. You're pissing them off.
I asked to Steve the last time, do you get more points by the more time you do it? And he said no.
No.
So stop.
And the other thing, I was talking to Luis Santa and a couple of the other judges.
And the girls. Girls too. Y'all don't need to be doing that.
Masters Nationals. They said one of the things is in the back pose. You see Aaron Banks hitting it really well, but a lot of these guys look like they're riding a motorcycle.
Oh my God! These guys are going like this.
Let's go. That's not going to make your physique look good. It takes away from your back pose.
You can't fit three competitors. They're like with their arms. They look like Jesus Christ there.
You got to have them down, guys. Down is going to make the physique look right. And also, when we're talking about physique, man, I met a young lady on the airplane coming here. I told her I'd give a shout out to her and her husband, Charles Taiwa,
I think you said.
Taiwa?
Yeah.
He did 3 shows. He just finished out winning his first competition in physique. He won the USA overall physique.
Oh, wow.
And then he was in the second call here in San Diego a few days ago. I forgot where he placed. Must have been around 7th.
You should be a pick of that kid. He looked incredible.
But this guy is a killer, and he will be dealing with a lot of bodies up there. He's going to take some bodies.
Well, We are excited to see what Aaron Banks does as he holds his title and tries to continue to keep that title. All you contenders, stay hungry, look good. We're looking forward to the Olympia this year, November 2nd to the 5th. Like, subscribe, share.
That camera right on me.
Guys, oh, look at that. Like, subscribe, share. You spent the money on the shirt, man. The more camera time, the more you can write it off.
Yeah, do it one more time.
You can depreciate
one
that
more time. And the shoes.
Oh, gosh, here it comes. Oh, man.
Look at the bottom. What?
Look at
what?
Who makes these?
This is Versace.
Jeez.
We're designing.
Well, we know what happens when they ransack.
I'll tell you this, man. He goes to Brazil like that, we'll kidnap his ass so quick.
All right. We definitely appreciate you watching the show. We look forward to seeing you. Say hi at the shows when we see you, but we look forward to seeing you at the Olympia this year. Tim Wilkins, as always, with the real deal, Chris Cormier.
Hey, leave some comments on the out. Tell me what you think about the fit.
Tarek, you'll get it.
You are either Team Tarek or Team Cormier.
There is no middle.
There is no middle. You're either my friend or my enemy. Let Chris Cormier know why you like Team Tarek.
We are in the house.
All right, on behalf of the middle, we'll see you next time.